about why bother meditating? What's the point of meditating? And for me, the point of meditating is that it makes my life better. It makes me happier. It makes me a little less crazy in the head. For me personally, before I found meditation, my life was kind of a struggle. I was struggling to find purpose and find meaning in life. And it wasn't until I found meditation that I really found some kind of sense of meaning for my life. But every person's life or every person's path is different. And so wherever you are in life, if your life is not going great or if your life is really good, meditation can make your life better. That's because meditation helps us enjoy whatever experience we're doing more. Because when we quiet the mind, when the mind's not running so much to the inner dialogue, then it's easier to fully experience whatever it is we're doing in the present moment. And so that might not make a lot of sense. So I'll ask another question and open this up for a discussion. What is fun? What makes something fun? What makes an experience fun? How would you define that? So does someone want to chime in with an answer?
Something that makes me happy.
Yeah. But what makes you happy?
Dancing.
I mean, but how do you know when you're happy?
Happy. I feel good inside. I feel, I have good. I'm not thinking about stress. I'm not thinking, about the future or the past. I'm kind of just enjoying, the moment, whether it's dancing or eating or hanging out with friends and just laughing. And yeah, and sharing a beautiful conversation with somebody. Yeah, those things make me happy.
Great. How about anyone else? How do you define fun? How do you know when you're happy?
This is Gina in the other room. And I think for me, there's a lightness, there's a feeling of joy, and your whole spirit feels lighter and less burdened. And I don't know, I just feel like all your cells are tingling in a way. It's just, there's an elation there when you're having fun.
Yeah, great. Anyone else want to chime in? Okay, well, yeah, those are both great answers. I think one way to think about it, to me, the way I think about it, is that something's fun when, like Hugo was saying, like Gina was saying, when it pulls you fully into the moment and you forget about the rest of the world and you're just fully engaged in what you're doing. And time flies by effortlessly, and your body, your heart feels light, your soul feels light. And so that's one way to define fun. And one way to think about meditation is it's a way to do that directly. So to just directly become fully engaged in the present moment and forget about the rest of the world, forget about all the stress going on in your life, all the craziness in your life, and just be fully present and fully engaged in the present moment. And so that's how meditation can help us have more fun. And that brings us to another topic I want to talk about, mindfulness. And so mindfulness, one way to think about mindfulness is that it's trying to cultivate a meditative state throughout the day. So no matter what you're doing all day long, even when you're not actively trying to sit and meditate, mindfulness is trying to prevent that inner dialogue from constantly chattering along and distracting you from the present moment. And so, because when we're not distracted by the mind comparing what we're doing to our expectations of what we think we should be doing, then it's much easier to just enjoy what we're doing. So when the mind's not distracted by thoughts like, or what can make this experience better, or what we did last week that was more fun, or what we're going to do later tonight that's more fun, or why that guy Jeff is such a jerk. If we're not distracted by all these thoughts, then it's much easier to be fully present in what we're doing and just enjoy what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So that brings us to how we do it. So how do we quiet the mind? I'm sure you've probably tried to just tell the mind to be quiet, and that doesn't work very well. There's a great quote from The Simpsons, a line where one time Homer Simpson says, "Quiet brain or I'll stab you with a Q-tip." So it can feel like that sometimes when if we try to force the mind to be quiet, it just doesn't cooperate. It keeps talking and keeps coming up with all these thoughts. And there's a good quote from Alan Watts that I like, who said that trying to control your own mind is like trying to bite your own teeth. So it's just kind of impossible, because the you that has to do the controlling is the same you that needs to be controlled. So it's just physically impossible to try to control your mind and try to force the mind to be quiet. So let go of any notions of trying to force the mind to be quiet. Let go of any ideas of trying to make your mind be quiet. Instead, an easier way to do it is to just start observing the mind. So just start noticing how your mind is constantly creating thoughts. Your mind's constantly throwing thoughts up in your consciousness, one after another, one by one. And if you start to notice this, we start observing how the mind is constantly creating thoughts, then we start to have some distance from the thoughts, and they cease to control us as much. So when we start observing the mind and witnessing how it's constantly in action, creating these thoughts, then we start to have some detachment from the mind. And that's how we can become more quiet. So not by trying to force the mind to be quiet, but just by noticing how the mind gets quiet, or just by noticing how the mind is constantly active and finding some space from the mind.